Hey guys, my name is Ben Quann, and if you're new to my channel, I'm a real estate agent located right here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is just about an hour south of DC. And I am going to take you through today on my buyer consultation, or what you would be doing if you were meeting me for the first time, telling me you want to buy your house, or these could just be tips if you're thinking about buying a house and meeting with another realtor. So the biggest step that you'll ever be doing in the real estate transaction, you would think it'd be buying the house or finding the house, but honestly, getting pre-approved. Getting your loan is going to be the biggest hassle. Me and my wife just built a house, and I can promise you the stress of building the house was not nearly as much as all the paperwork we needed to turn in for the loan and all the updated bank statements and taxes, stuff like that. So what you need to do right off the bat is get pre-approved. Now, you can do it with a local lender, you could do it with your bank. I would always recommend a local lender, someone that's local here to your area that you're working. They're gonna know all the fees and the guidelines for our area. Plus, it's always nice when I'm on the listing side, that's when I'm selling the house, if I have a pre-qualification letter come through with a local lender that I know and I can trust that he will get the job done, so my sellers will be happy with me. Another big reason I wanna get you with the lender right off the bat would be to go over how your monthly payment will work out. Pretty much the overall cost of the house. They'll give you a breakdown. It will show the monthly payment, your taxes, insurance, everything's going to be estimated, but it'll give you a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. And then also your closing costs, all the fees with title company, all your fees with the loan itself. Now in Virginia, real estate commission is paid from the seller, so you don't have to worry about my fee. Another reason we like to get you pre-approved right off the bat is, especially if you're doing 100% financing, not all 100% financing loans work in every area. So there could be detailed guidelines from the government that's saying, like, a perfect example would be USDA, a rural development loan. USDA has a map essentially that goes through pretty much our town. So half of our town would work for USDA, half of it wouldn't. But if that's the loan you're qualifying for, there's no point to go look at houses that you couldn't get the loan for. And I know you're going to come to me and say, look, I got like an 800 credit score. I have a lot of money in the bank, but at the end of the day, I don't know you, and we need to make sure that their qualifications are there. Perfect example, I had a very high-class doctor one time, somehow had a medical bill that wasn't even on their credit report get by, and it went to collections, and it dinged her credit score 100 points. And this is someone that's very high up. Should have never happened, but it was just an error. We got it taken care of, got a rescore done. But a prime example, someone that you would never think would have credit issues, had some credit issues. So we want to get that out of the way right off the bat. The final point of getting pre-approved, sellers want to make sure that you're qualified. It's not like when I schedule that showing, they're asking me, hey, are your clients qualified? Because that's just kind of a standard practice here in our area. Think about it in their shoes. Would you open the door to someone that's not even qualified to buy a house of your caliber? They want to make sure that they're opening doors to people that actually can buy the house, because we have had issues where people have come in and stolen. Qualification is king, and that's the very first step you need to do. So in our buyer consultation, more than likely, I'm going to refer you to a lender if you have not been working with one, or we can meet with a lender right then. I do that all the time, or we can put the lender on Zoom. Might not be running the credit right then and there, but that will be the first step when we meet, and then we'll go into the next steps that we're about to get into. If you're not doing a buyer consultation with me, you would need to find a realtor. Of course, if you're in my area, I'd love to help you. But if you're outside of my area, I can hook you up with a great realtor in your area, or you could just pick your own. The only thing I'll say is you should do some background checking to make sure that they're a good realtor. There are a lot of realtors. Pretty much at some point in the summer, there were more realtors than there were houses actually listed. Just keep in mind, Zillow is not always a good place to look, because Zillow is now its own brokerage. Google's a great place to check. Facebook, check their social media presence too to see. That doesn't mean that, every realtor is going to have a big online presence, and that doesn't make them a good realtor or a bad realtor. So now that you're pre-approved and you've picked your realtor, now we need to start getting into your house needs. Now keep in mind, the market is very low on inventory, so there's not a lot of houses out there, plus prices are rising, rates are rising too. So you might not be able to get all that wants and needs of your house, but just keep those reasonable, and we'll do the rest to try to figure out to get you the right house. Now, things to keep in mind in your house would be bedrooms and baths. Those are your main ones. Whether you want a basement, a garage, whether you want to be on septic and well, that's usually if you're way out in the country or something like that. Now we need to start talking about your money out of pocket, how much money you'll actually spend on this whole transaction. The first thing right off the bat, when we write a contract, we say we go find that house, we write a contract. In Virginia, you're going to put down something called an EMD, or earnest money deposit. EMD is essentially like your skin in the game. You're putting $1,000 up as collateral or something along those lines, and the seller's taking that property off the market for you to get through our terms. Now, there are ways out of the contract, again, like a home inspection. A good rule of thumb on EMDs is about 1% of the sales price. So if it's a $200,000 house, it's a $2,000 EMD, something along those lines. But everything's negotiable. So if you don't have $2,000, or if you don't want to put $2,000 down, you could always put down less. Just know the more money you put down, the more serious you look as a buyer to that seller. Then we go into things like a home inspection or other inspections. So a home inspection is something I like to do within the first 10 days of ratification, which means all parties agree to the contract. So we'll do the home inspection within 10 days. Depending on the size of the house, they can range anywhere from $300 to $600. And I guess other home inspectors might charge more, I don't know, but that's about the going rate that I see. You want to make sure to do that to make sure that the house is in good shape. Depending on how the contract's written, let's say the roof was leaking, you could back out, of course. You could ask the seller to fix it. Another thing we'll want you to do is a termite too. A lot of this is going to be on a loan requirement. You'll have to have a passing termite inspection to actually get that loan. Those aren't that expensive, but you do want to make sure there's no termites in your house, especially if they're active and if they're damaging anything in the house. That all needs to be addressed. Last thing you have to do is an appraisal. A lot of people think that the bank's going to send out a home inspector or something like that. What they're really referring to is an appraisal, and that's essentially a third-party appraiser that works for you on the behalf of the bank that's going to make sure that the value's in the property. This is your last, essentially, safety net. The realtor is going to run your numbers to make sure that the house should appraise, but at the end of the day, the bank's going to want to double check too. There's other inspections too, like radon and lead-based paint, but those are going to just be case by case, and hopefully the realtor you've picked will definitely make you go in that direction if need be. The fifth step we're going to be working on is going to be making sure all utilities are turned on in your name, and also things like insurance. You'll have to have house insurance or home insurance. You have to have homeowners insurance to make sure that your house will always have insurance just in case something major happens, like a tornado or a house fire, flooding, something along those lines. And then we go into closing, and that's it. We got you your loan, we found you your house, we did all the inspections, we got you set up with title, got you set up with insurance, utilities put in your name, and you take possession of the house, all in a whopping 30 days. That's it. 30 days is about our average closing date. You could do 21 days, you could do a 60-day, just depends on the situation, but on average, we're gonna close that property in 30 days. So anyway, guys, I hope this helped a little bit. Of course, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can always email me, you can hit me on any of my social media. As always, like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.